You with your fucking PS5 in the background.
I'm flexing. What can I say?
I got my Series X. It's okay.
It's just,
And your iPhone, Series X, Xbox, iPhone. What are you on
I
about,
was
man?
just going to say, yeah, a vastly inferior console. Anyway, what's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Cider and Port back for a different video. So, as the title will suggest, this is the third time's the charm on the CA podcast. Joining me, I used to say joining me as always, but it kind of hasn't really been that way in a little while. Kevin, where have you been? Kevin is joining.
Job. Sorry, that I'm grown up.
Yeah, but this is like Saturday 11 p.m. is when we go live. Anyway, look, I'm not. Anyway, joining us from the.
Me.
What do you mean? Okay.
You haven't. You just go live. You don't know.
Well, you know when I go live, you have it's like you have the link to the account. That's the anyway.
Okay.
Look,
Let's not air our dirty laundry on air.
I was just going to say we're having a domestic on air. Can we stop?
And you can tell because it's really clear you guys love each other so much. Because if you hated each other, just be like, fuck off.
And joining us from the CA podcast is Michael, but not Dean because his kids ruin everything.
That's right.
So. Yeah, we've kind of both had some debates on modern day debate recently, and
James keeps asking me back. I have no fucking idea why. No, I love James, and it's he. So the way it happened, I'm just going to take over the show. So basically, the way it happened was much like with James, a lot, or at least sometimes. Anyway, I get up Saturday morning. And there's a, hey, possible tag team debate tonight. Are you available? Okay, sure. Yeah, whatever. I respond to him and have absolutely zero prep time to get ready, and away we go. Luckily, it was against a topic, it was arguing a topic that is really easy.
Yeah.
Biblical slavery. And it was against two people that have not a lot to argue with. So.
Which is a lot nicer than I would have said, because I would have said that you were arguing against two, smooth-brained, sub 40 IQ idiots. But there, it's fine. It's fine.
And it's really interesting, because so I had to remind Gman. I guess I'm not particularly memorable, much to my own personal chagrin. But I had interacted with Gman probably 2 years or so ago on his YouTube channel. I was sitting around one day with nothing else to do, and I have this propensity to torture myself. So I was chirping at him, and not chirping. I was commenting on things he was saying in the chat. And he said, well, why don't you, do you have the guts to back it up? So I'm like, send an invite, dude. Pardon me. So I went on, and they were talking about evolution and stuff like that, which he doesn't have a clue about what it is. And that was that. But he had forgotten me, and the way I was able to remind him was he had this idea a couple of years ago to set up this thing called the Debate Coliseum. Don't ask me what it was, because I don't even think he articulated that well exactly what it was, and it never came to be. So maybe that's why he forgot about me. And my only exposure to praise previous to Saturday night was he was the kind of the background tech guy on another debate that I had taken part in, and so he was the one orchestrating the studio, like the kind of the background studio and stuff like that. And so I spoke to him for about 90 seconds.
Did actually just quickly talk about praise. Did anybody else get the impression he was like trying to be his own hype man throughout the whole thing? Like he was just amping up every sentence, and that's why we're doing it this way, and that's why the Bible, like
that seems to be his style. That seems to be his.
That's a wonderful
style. Yeah. It was pretty like weird. Yeah, it was kind of like midway through up until the end of a set, like he would just shout half of it of every sentence that he would say, which was kind of very bizarre. But and like I just loved the fucking token avatar of like his like dream face and body that he had for the entire debate. That was just kind of funny.
So it's funny. So background tidbit. So in the studio, because I always have the streams turned off when I go on, just because it's too much of a distraction, right?
Oh,
So,
Jim's here.
in the background, he had
Hello.
he
How you
had a
doing, Jim?
totally different. Hey Jim, how's it going? He had a totally different picture, and he was like, "Oh James, can you change this?" He's like, "Well, I've already got everything set up, so you're just gonna have to run with what's there." So he had like a little 3D animated like avatar with a microphone, and that's what we were all looking at. Like that's what Jim and I and Gman and James were looking at, but everybody else saw this, and I didn't see it till afterwards, till I went and looked at it. I'm like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it was just this kind like yeah, I had just said Jim like that, like it was like this like I don't know, like token or like gold dream body and face that he had for the like that was the avatar that was on screen for the whole time. It was very distracting, really. So yeah, I don't know, Jim. Have I like had much interaction? I feel like I have, but I'm not like 100% sure if I have interacted with you before. Might have been on like one of like Math Pig streams or like something like that.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that we had talked before, but I wasn't 100% sure. But if we haven't, well, it's good to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you as well.
You obviously know Michael. Kevin is my co-host for my show.
Hi, Jim. How's it going?
Hello.
Yeah, you're known as the mustache on Twitter, and I can understand why. That's a fucking banging mustache that you have, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Appreciate it.
No problem. So, yeah, we're like basically just doing a debate, kind of like review of Michael's debate of the one that I had on MDD recently as well. So yeah, like
Socialism. That was a fucking train wreck, dude. That was a train
yeah,
wreck.
I know. Oh yeah, I know. This was the first debate actually that Kevin was like there in the room whilst I was doing it. Like he's never been there before. Like he's like modded some debates that I've done, but like he's like been in at like his place where he is now. But he's never actually like been literally like right there. So
yeah, it's interesting.
I'm not sure if Jim had a chance to see it. Maybe Stephen, you should lay out what the debate, what your debate was.
Yeah, so it was Socialism versus Capitalism, and it was me and Leo Filius versus CJ Cox and the
I
infamous
did part of that. I got the last end of it.
Oh, okay. And yeah, it was versus the infamous. And how did you describe him last time, Michael? Phallic, was it?
Yeah.
John Maddox. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just. Oh.
I don't. I feel almost like Jack Nicholson in As Good as It Gets when he says like I'm using the word hate here. And I even that's an exaggeration because I don't hate John, but he is like and I've said this to you before. It's got to be hard on John when he's always the smartest person in any room that he's in.
Of course.
And just ask him because he'll tell you. So that's always really frustrating. Jim, here's something. So, as the only American in the stream tonight, what are your thoughts on socialism?
I think socialism has certain great points. I'm more for democratic socialism.
Sure.
But
yeah, and it's hard because it's almost like a little bit of a curveball question, right? Because nobody by socialism, nobody means what you find in like any dictionary or encyclopedia of that. Like they're all thinking about like Stephen loves Bernie, like fucking crazy Bernie supporter. So that is the type of socialism we're all really talking about. The same type of socialism we have in Canada,
sure.
Same thing they have in places in Europe, that kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I am a little bit more kind of like left of Bernie because I mean, like, look, I think that Bernie could be kind of like pushed or persuaded to like arguing for or advocating for a worker co-op, but I mean, like, that's not something that I've at least I've seen that he's ever talked for about before. So
I think that's like a know thy audience. Because
probably.
I'm not sure that a lot of people in the US would really understand what that is anyway.
Yeah, he's pushing the boundaries enough as is, to be fair.
Well, he's pushing the boundaries, and it's not even really it's not that crazy.
by international standards, not at all. Like, no.
It's just not that crazy.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, look, I kind of spoke about it, but kind of like briefly before. Like and Kevin was kind of there for the like immediate reaction of how I thought it was, which Kevin said that I did very well, but as Kevin will tell you, that like I was a little bit unsure. I guess
You're
like I
like that
wasn't.
every time, though, Steve. You're always like that. You always second guess yourself with stuff like. But no, you did. You did a good point.
We are always our own worst critics.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No doubt.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Jim. Jim, what did you think of Saturday? I mean, based on what you put on Twitter.
What did I think about what?
The debate on Saturday.
Oh, I thought it was a total shit show, but then again, I knew that it was going to be.
Yeah.
I didn't.
You were very
you were
very complimentary to me, and I appreciate that.
Oh well, you did a great job.
Well, I mean, look at like to be fair, Gman was in the room. Like, was it going to be anything other than a shit show? Like, if we're being very generous.
And it's
James,
funny, there are people I've heard people say that when if you can have a one-on-one, like just a one-on-one with no third party, Gman is actually agreeable, and you can actually have a conversation with him when there's no audience. He's
just a show pony, like just kind of as soon as there's an audience there, he starts.
I don't like, it's just an anecdote, so I don't know how true it is, but I mean, it's got me curious. Like, is that actually is that a thing? Is that possible?
I definitely haven't seen any supporting evidence for that, but I'm open to somebody changing my mind.
Right, there you go.
Yeah. James really does have his own whack pack going at this stage, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I think that it's funny because I think the first time I was on, I'm trying to remember the first time I was on MDD.
Was it against Darth Dawkins? Was that your first debate that you did?
I don't think that was my first one.
Man, if that was my first one, it'd be my last one too.
Fuck, it might have been. It might have been, Stephen.
I think it was, because when we were first partnered for the first debate versus Smokey and John, I had looked on MDD because you had said that you had been on before, and the only one that I think that I saw at the time was your one versus Darth Dawkins. So I could be wrong on that. I might just not have seen the second one, but.
How many times did Michael, during your debate against Darth, how many times did he scream at James for bringing him another useless interlocutor?
Actually, he didn't.
Really?
I think there was only one time. I think there's only one time when he said, James, I thought I asked you to screen my interlocutors. And that was just because I wouldn't follow his script, right?
Yeah.
And whenever you don't follow his script, you're being deceitful and dishonest.
Yeah, and a troll and all this sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It can't possibly be that he's a one-trick pony. And what's interesting from a precept standpoint, and Jim, I think it's hysterical that you challenged Gman to a precept debate. That will be fucking golden.
Yeah, he's not gonna fall through with that.
Yeah, that will be fucking golden if it happens. But as I said to people before, like from a precept perspective, Dean and I here, like in studio, Side and Brugencake came into my home, and we talked for, a couple hours. And so I'm not averse to the precept argument when it's not presented by a dickhead.
Well, one of my first arguments was with Side 10, and it was precept, and it was 5.5 hour debate. It was on Non Sequitur show.
Wow, 5.5 hours. That's crazy.
Shit.
Yeah. Do you think Christ. So? Here's a question, Jim. So, and I'll preface it by a little bit of preamble. So, there are people that I believe, like Kent Hovind, Ray Comfort, and a few others, that I am convinced they know they're lying.
Oh yeah, just bad actors.
Yeah. I don't believe that of Sai. What do you think?
No, I think Sai's a genuine pre-supper. I mean, I think he's a nice guy for the most part. But he's just, I don't know, he's He's really, really convinced.
Yeah, he sat here, and when after we pressed the stop button and we were talking a little bit more, tears welled up in his eyes because he was that concerned for where I was going to spend eternity. And when I told him that,
he prayed for me.
yeah, and after I told him that I had already blasphemed the Holy Spirit according to Mark 3:29, he just kind of looked at me, and I'm like, well, according to your book, I'm done. Like, it's already over for me. And
Yeah.
he got a really concerned look on his face. And that's when my opinion was set with him that I don't believe he's being dishonest. I think he's
Yeah.
wrong. But I don't believe he's dishonest.
Right.
Yeah, there was I haven't interacted with Sai. I don't know that I'd be overly like enthusiastic to. I don't know. I mean, like maybe maybe like I've heard some like good things and stuff like that. I mean, like you had told me that story before, Michael, but
Yeah.
so yeah,
You have to be
I don't
ready
know.
for him.
Well,
He's a wordsmith. He's a wordsmith.
the thing that really bothered me about Sai was he loves using the no true Christian fallacy, no true Scotsman fallacy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he doesn't believe that I can that he can talk about the Bible with me because as an atheist, I don't have that divine revelation. I don't have that the guidance of the Holy Spirit, so there's no point in it.
And your life before atheism obviously doesn't count.
Right, because according to the Bible, if I was Christian, then I never would have left.
Yeah. How convenient.
Right. Yeah, it's a nice little trap that gets you in there.
Yeah. I heard that Sai was actually in the process of trying to move to Texas.
That's interesting.
And I can't for the life of me understand why. He yeah, and that's 100% bias, because I can't understand why anyone from Canada would want to move to the US at all. Like save maybe a couple of little bastions like Austin, Texas, or maybe somewhere not
even Austin.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, there goes that.
I thought that Austin was like crazily liberal, though. No,
yeah, I thought
was
it was.
wrong about that? That was my impression, anyway.
It has like a couple of streets,
Oh,
okay. There's a neighborhood.
It's just crazily liberal in comparison with the rest of Texas, perhaps.
Exactly.
I was just going to say, like, I kind of got the impression that it was like, I don't know, like a much bigger area than that. I don't really know what's the right words to use or whatever.
It's just that it stands in contrast so much. Like Kevin was saying, there's just so much contrast between it and the rest of Texas.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
right,
I've had a bunch of interactions with Aaron Raw.
Yeah, Aaron's cool.
He's been on the podcast a couple of times, and we met when he was up at a CFI show in Toronto a few years back. And apart from being an incredibly imposing man at like whatever,
he's huge.
He's like 9 feet tall or something like that.
But so is Seth Andrews. Seth Andrews and Aaron Raw are pretty much the same height.
Yep. I met Seth at Imagine No Religion in Toronto a few years back as well. And and he was I was shocked. I wasn't shocked by Aaron because if you watch the YouTube videos and stuff like that, you see him next to other people and you okay, this guy's gonna be huge. But Seth is always just kind of at his computer with his microphone, so I didn't expect it.
Seth is up to about an hour and a half for me. He has he used to have movie nights once a month. We go over there and hang out.
Oh yeah, cool.
But,
so what's it like in Oklahoma?
What's that?
What's it like in Oklahoma? Like whereabouts in Oklahoma are you?
It's like Canada but flat.
Oh, nice.
And not Canada.
Right. Right.
No, it's sad. It's sad. Most of it's flat. There's some mountainous areas, but it's just. I mean, I live out in the country, so it's quiet.
Is Oklahoma ruby red?
Is it ruby red?
Yeah, like GOP land.
Oh yeah, it's pretty red.
Yeah. Right.
Oh.
Yeah, I've not visited. My wife was in Oklahoma City a few years ago for a conference she attended there, and she said it was nice. She was in Oklahoma City,
Oh yeah. Oklahoma City's like it's like the Austin, Texas of Oklahoma.
Well, there you go. Okay. So a couple of streets that are good.
Well, when I say a couple of streets, I mean it's more than that. But I mean it's Austin is just one of those places where it's it's being taken over by a younger generation. All the older crowd. Where it used to be like a vacation home. Now it's like more like University of Texas. And just a place that people go when I guess an in between place, like going between L.A. or Hollywood. Uh, just kids like artists mostly. There's a lot of artists there, a lot of music.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but it's country music.
No, you'd be surprised.
Oh, okay, good. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
Not a fan.
How much
I grew up on country
Steve?
music. I don't care for it anymore. Especially new country. Cannot stand it.
It just seems to be it, and we're probably gonna catch some flack for this. I don't know, but it's always just about like life couldn't fucking get any worse than what is
Yeah.
written about in any one of these songs.
My wife left me, and my dog got ran over.
Exactly. Somebody died. The wheels fell off my truck.
And your house.
Yeah. Oh. Let it be known,
It's
Jim
like,
said that.
It's like Irish country is kind of something similar to that. For artists that are in Ireland writing about it, it's about how awful their lives are. But as soon as they emigrate, it's about how much they want to go back to Ireland. It's just paradoxical.
Oh yeah,
That's
my wife had a friend like that who every time I met her, she wasn't from Ireland, she was from Scotland, and all she ever talked about was how amazing Aberdeen was, and how she couldn't wait to go back there. I'm like, what's fucking
To Aberdeen? Why would you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I've never been there.
It doesn't seem like a place that you would miss, but okay.
I don't know. I've never been there.
I would be happy to go anywhere in Scotland. I can trace my heritage back to the founding Scots. I mean, to Uhtred, Phileas Scott. So I mean, it's something someplace I've always wanted to go to.
So that's interesting. So Jim, we have some other common ground then, because if you trace my heritage back, apparently along the line, I'm related to Mary Stewart.
Yep. I'm related to her as well.
Must be a fucking small country then. Like Jesus Christ.
Or that, or she's
Either
just some
that,
island.
or she was the village bicycle.
What is the Botterley? I can't remember which family it was.
That's as far as my knowledge goes. I have a sister who's really crazy into this ancestry stuff, and she's digging stuff. And she's like, "Here, look at this." And I'm like, "I don't care. I have a hard time caring." It's she wants to show me pictures of people who have been dead for 100 years. I'm like,
I don't know. I just think it's cool because I mean, I just went my dad's dad, and just went down the male line, and that's where it brought me. I thought that was so cool that to this day, there's still Scots.
Ancestry must be so cool for people who live in like the new world, quote unquote. Like for me and Stephen, if we trace our ancestry back, probably like we could go back 600 years and we just still Irish people.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Blooded Irishman.
Yeah. Oh, we used to live 20 miles that way.
Yeah, but how cool is that though? I mean, like just it's your familial land.
Yeah, I suppose there's that to it.
Yeah, there is that element of it. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's just kind of like, I don't know. I think that there's something kind of like exotic. Is that the right word to use? About like kind of like finding out that but like finding out that like like part of you is from like France or Germany or Italy or any of these places. Like, and that, do you know what I mean? You've just got like connections everywhere. That's
my only cool claim to fame is that like maybe going back 4 or 5 generations, I think we were Romany gypsies on one side of my family. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of
awesome. Cool. Before Uhtred Phileas Scott, they said that they were Celts that came from the north, but there's really no knowledge about them, or at least not that I've been able to find. But it's pretty cool.
See, when I think about stuff like that, like when I think about when I was first told that I was in some way related to this Mary Stewart, I'm like, where's the money? Fucking Queen. Where's the fucking money?
Well, I don't know if you know how it worked out for her, but
Yeah. It was not great.
not great.
She
Not
could.
great. I don't think she got to keep the money.
No, stuff some in a mattress somewhere. Or she didn't have mattresses then. Try to put it on, under the blanket, and it fell through the.
It'd be a really uncomfortable mattress thing. It would be coinage.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Stop moving! You're making the bed jingle.
Oh man!
Moving the bed, and it takes 10 strong men.
Yeah, exactly. I want to move the bed that way. No, more foot that way.
Princess in the pee my ass.
Yeah. Jim, was there any part of Saturday that you felt wasn't a shit show?
Our opening statements.
Sweet. I felt like I really threw you under the bus there because I told you I wasn't going to take long, and I took about 45 seconds, and then you were like, "Oh, okay."
No, you're good.
Based on the conversation, so everybody watching for Stephen and Kevin, we because I had never really interacted with Jim before, I said, "Hey, do you mind if we, got a few minutes to Zoom ahead of time, just so we can talk, like, even just loose strategy, like what we're going to how we're going to address this." And after hearing Jim talk about the way he wanted to lay things out and the things that he wanted to say, I realized at that point, I was like, I don't got to say much. So because I'm lazy by nature, it meant that all I had to do was just kind of say, slavery bad. And that was about it. And it was so that slipped right into my wheelhouse.
I appreciate you admitting to that. I was curious. It probably crossed my mind that maybe he was just taking the back seat on this one.
Yeah. And it's interesting because in having chats with a mutual friend of ours, friend, you know much better than I do, Josh Bowen. He's offered he's been on the podcast now 3 times, and he said, and he's such a generous man with his time.
Great guy.
He's always just said, if you ever want to have me, come on, talk about this. And he's in the process of talking to the guys at Atheist Roundtable, who I've not had any contact before. To have he and I team up to go on there and debate something. And there's part of me just like, please not slavery. It's like, I'll just sit there like a lump. You know everything. I know nothing by comparison.
The man literally wrote the book on it.
Exactly. So, but he and actually last time Megan came on too, and she's such a sweetheart.
Yeah, she's great.
She's so amazing. And it was funny because they had a raffle. So they do this thing called HAPS, Humans Against Poor Scholarship, and they raise money to send to basically help PhD students over the summer with like an additional little stipend. It's like, here's some cash so you don't, starve to death or get kicked out of your apartment. And, it can also be used for research and stuff like that. But one of the things that's cool about the way they do it is they don't put any prerequisites on it. It's like, here's some money, use it for what you need to use it for. And they had a raffle draw for some of the prizes. So I donated to their little cause thing. Just a few bucks, but whatever. And I won one of the raffle prizes. I won a couple of coffee mugs that have like Egyptian writing or something on them. And it was funny because she said my name, like she read my name out on the live stream, but she said it, of course, with an English accent. So I was Michael Stewart. And I was like, I've never heard my name said by a person with an English accent before. This is so cool. That's the end of the story.
Yeah, I mean, it is sort of like, I don't know, it's like kind of interesting, I think, having, or just like hearing your name being said by like different accents. I mean, Jim Jeffries has a bit where he mentions your name, Kevin, and like it might not be like even like that, like big or anything, or I might not even like notice it that much, but it's just like, oh, that's just a way of my name being said that I've never heard before. It's an interesting little bit on it there.
Yeah. Other than other than obviously it's a very incendiary topic and likely to get a few views. Let's be honest. What Why does biblical slavery keep popping up on MDD, do you reckon? Why do people so fervently jump through hoops to defend it?
Fucked if I know.
Yeah,
I think it's more them defending the Bible than it is slavery. It's just in an effort to make their God appear either innocent or not implicit in some way, or just defending the inerrancy of the Bible, and that some people just say, well, that's the way that it was in that time, so God was going along with the culture, and then you have people all the way to Gman that say, well, if God said it's okay, then it must be okay.
Do you not think, in my personal opinion, what it does is it really highlights exactly that, what the Bible was in act, probably what it was. It's just a collection of rules for, Bronze Age tribes. It just kind of highlights how out of date the document is that people live and die their lives by.
Yeah, I agree. It's the kind of thing, but that's why during the debate I specifically said, do you view the Bible as the inerrant, inspired word of God? And you can't. It's like fishing on both sides of the river to say, well, they're just talking about how it was in the time, but if this is also supposed to contain teachings that transcend time, well, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, it kind of forces them to poke holes in other aspects of their theological argument, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, and one of the things that I missed out on, and I should have, I was kicking myself afterwards, because if you ever watch a Gman YouTube video, and maybe only if you're a masochist, but one of his sign-offs is always, this is Gman or something like that, telling you to read your Bible and do what it says. That's what he says at the end of most of his videos. Ooh. I'm like, well, which part? Which part exactly? Right? Because the Bible says to do some pretty fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Goddamn, not even the First Amendment will defend some of that if they act on it.
Well, no, I mean, there's all the, of course, incredibly barbaric stuff.
Yeah, big time.
But it's funny because last week I had a conversation with a guy named Mel, and I had been on Apologetics Live, Andrew Rappaport's YouTube channel, and I've been on there a number of times, and I enjoy talking to those guys. And I just at the end of it said, hey, if any believers, send me an email. Love to have you on, talk about your story. So this guy Mel came on last week, and we were chatting, and he shared the story and stuff like that. And as we were talking through it, he was a former NIFB, and he talked about how embarrassed he was and how much he tried to distance himself from those teachings. And it was hard he admitted that it was hard for him to reconcile, because if nothing else, they are biblical in their followings. But yeah, I mean, read your Bible and do what it says. Wow.
Yeah, it's yeah, I mean, like, that's a kind of like a borderline. Instinct was to say dangerous. I was going to kind of back off of it, but no, like, kind of is, like, but just kind of in that, like, same kind of realm. Obviously Michael and Jim, like you both know this. I sent in a super chat. It was towards the kind of like, well, I sent in a few actually, but it was the last one that I sent in, and it was directed towards Gman, and I asked him would he be my slave under Exodus 21, and he said yes.
I know, fuck, like,
Yeah.
And I was like, I genuinely just didn't even know how to react. Like, if you go back over the video in the live chat, it takes me like 2 or 3 minutes to type something in afterwards, because I was genuinely just like, oh, that was not what I was expecting you to say.
Yeah.
That's not the response I was expecting.
I didn't have the best reaction to that.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, you almost think it's like, it was his answer just like a goof. It was like, oh, sure.
Yeah.
But then he followed up with, because I know what the Bible says.
Because I know what it says. Yeah.
And then it was really fun. Jim, I loved this because it appeared at about two-thirds of the way through. You were pissed. And
dude.
And it was fun. It was genuinely fun to watch. When you were like, I'm gonna beat your ass. I'm gonna beat your ass. It was fucking brilliant. I loved it. And then you had to come back at the end and say, "Listen, I don't actually mean this. Please don't make a meme out of me."
It's just it's crazy, man. He's just spitting in the face of his ancestors, and
and everybody really, but definitely that. But I mean, everybody. I mean, the whole idea was just kind of made me head shake a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just look. I mean, obviously, it's like across the board. Bad, awful, any of those words like that you'd like to use about about somebody defending slavery, but I don't even know. Is this it, Paul? Probably, but I don't actually care. It seems just optically so much fucking worse if it's coming from somebody who is African American. It's just so much worse because you're literally you are defending the very institution or the very act that kept your ancestors in bondage for centuries, and it's just fuck, dude.
And that's still affecting his community today.
Yeah. And I think it was interesting because I think both Jim and I said at one point that the same Bible that was used by the abolitionists was used by the people to slave. And that's just it's startling revisionist history to see it otherwise. I don't get it.
It's I don't know. I just don't know how anybody can kind of still kind of jump on the bandwagon of trying to defend it, because I mean, how many debates are there out there about slavery, right? About what the Bible says about slavery, and how many times can we still keep going over these arguments where people would say, oh no, that it's not real slavery, it's happy, nice slavery with unicorns and rainbows. And that oh no, it's not slavery, it's indentured servitude. How many times can we keep going through these things? And then it's frustrating for me because I keep having to go back to the book that I don't even fucking believe in and that they do, and to say just no, just read what your fucking book says. It says that you're not you're allowed to keep slaves, you're allowed to it's only Jewish slaves for 6 years, apart from if you trick them in the 7th, and you're allowed to beat them. How many it's how many times do we have to keep doing this? You know what I mean? It's very frustrating for me.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Jim said something interesting, something really interesting during it, and it caught me off guard because I believed the same thing, but he was the first one to articulate it, saying that he believed both, that bond servant or indentured servitude was just as immoral as chattel slavery, and although we couldn't see Praise's face because he just chooses not to show himself. Not that that's a slight against you tonight, Kevin. I understand. I have at least seen your face. I bet you even Praise was just kind of cocking his head to the side a little bit, what do I say to that? I thought that was an interesting little ploy. Now, as far as how many debates will be done on slavery, if Josh decides to debate Gman on biblical slavery, that'll be the last one. Then it'll be
other people have put Gman in their place on slavery. I'm pretty sure that Dr. Josh has, but it's just that he continues on. People have and Praise too. I mean, people have both made the same points that we have, and for them, it's just they're happy just ignoring everything else and acting like it never happened and making you start over at base one,
Yeah.
That must be very frustrating, especially if you've had that debate multiple times. It's almost kind of formulaic probably to yourselves if you're very familiar. Okay, we're going to walk through these steps in sequence likely, and maybe knowing at the end that we're just going to walk away okay, nobody's changed their mind. We think what we think, and same time next week, essentially.
Like the precept argument. The precept argument is famous for that.
Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking about. Actually, just when listening to bits and pieces of the debate, and what really annoys me, actually, just one point that comes up in ones I've seen is that when they try to obfuscate it with modern instances of slave labor and sweatshops and prisons and such like that, and it's like, oh, okay, we're the people debating the other side, they're not necessarily saying these things are good, and they're also not saying that it comes from the divine instruction.
Well, and then you have professional NBA players who, bless their hearts, are slaves as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's funny. I thought, Jim, there must have been some type of cybernetic connection, because I actually felt your blood pressure increase when he brought up sports teams.
I was heated, man.
I could actually feel that. You were brilliant at, like, I don't have a poker face at all, and neither do you.
Yep, neither do I.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like that if I could shoot lasers out of my eyes, I would.
Yeah, that was genuinely funny to watch. And then when you rhetorically asked me, does that mean I can't, beat Michael Jordan if he doesn't hit a basket? Like,
yeah.
And it just went completely over their head, like they heard it and just chose to ignore it.
Yeah,
it's probably more the case.
Yeah, I was rewatching part of it, and I saw where I was talking about whether or not a man's wife could go with him whenever he was set free, and Praise just outright just said no, that's not true. And then G-Man said, well, I've got the verse right here, and he reads the verse just confirming what I had just said, and Praise just acted like it just didn't happen.
Yeah. And then when I said, I'm like, just reread that to yourself as many times as you need to.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like if he gives him a wife, gives him like as if she was property to bestow.
Yeah.
Right.
And
or like what was it? There was something that like I can't remember exactly what point it was at, but it was the same sort of thing. Like they were reading from the verse and stuff like that, and like I think it might have actually been both of you that like kept saying, but like but she was owned, and kept saying it like that, and it was just yeah.
Let me spell it out for you. Follow the bouncing ball.
It truly is interesting to watch people try to defend the black and white indefensibility of it. It is it's a wonder, but that's what I it's like whenever I'm discussing morality, I say like that's the moral flexibility of Christianity. It'll take the shape of any container.
Yep.
It needs to.
Just it's like flubber.
Yeah, exactly. So Jim, here's a question for you, because Steve and I have talked this a fair bit. Have you had any interactions with John Maddox?
I think so. Yeah.
Oof.
If you had.
Fortunate soul.
Yeah.
Well, I've debated a lot of people. I honestly don't know. I'm pretty sure that I have. I'm trying to place his face.
Yeah.
He was the guy who kept fingering his beard for my socialism versus capitalism debate.
Yeah.
Oh.
Even though he pointed out the fact that I kept doing that a lot, but that's just because my hair is long and it goes everywhere. Like, fuck off. But and obviously, Michael, no offense, but I can do something with my hair, John. So fuck you.
Yeah.
But,
no, I could do a fucking badass comb over. Give me a year. Give me a year. I can do a fucking badass comb over.
You can bring it from your beard.
Yeah, maybe. No, I've got it here, right? But then my wife would divorce me. It'd be very messy, and
yeah,
yeah,
you'd lose the house and all that. So
I get half her pension. I keep joking with her. Like we have this running joke. It's like I half your pension. So and it's juicy. So.
Well, half of nothing is.
Oh no! We're both public servants. She is a pretty juicy.
Oh, there you go.
Well.
Yeah.
And I forgot in Canada they take care of their public servants.
Yep. Yeah. Basically, if you're in Canada and you're a public servant, you have a pension, guaranteed. So.
What are you drinking? What is that?
Lucozade. It's it's like kind of odd like how much this comes up, because like I kind of joke around about it now of like, you
Is it
know,
like an energy
if there's
drink? It looks
anybody,
like an energy drink.
yeah, it's like an old school one. There's no caffeine in it. It's just laced with sugar. But I keep doing this like, you know, like sort of like a running joke type of a thing now. Like, is that like when I'm streaming? Like sometimes when I'm like signing off, and I'll just be like, man, if there's anybody from Lucasade who wants me to sponsor them, I drink it every fucking stream anyway. So
No kidding. Lucas,
yes.
I mean, I guess it's good. All right. Like, I mean, I guess it's a dumb question to ask. Is it good? But
Oh yeah,
It looks like it's about is that about a liter?
a liter. Yeah, yeah.
wow. It's
That's a
I
massive.
lot.
wonder
Lucas
actually how
rocket
much
ship.
sugar is in here. I
Don't
probably
read
shouldn't
it.
be.
An ungodly
Don't
amount,
read it.
Stephen. Don't look.
Don't look.
So there's 11.3 grams per 250 mils, and
It's
this
just-
is a liter.
I suppose
so
it's just
four.
gonna say
So
So
four of
times
those.
4. Yeah.
44, but it's 0.3, so we'll just kind of round it up and say 45 grams of sugar. Yeah,
Jeez,
that's a lot,
like,
actually.
like,
Fuck.
That's a lot of sugar, brother.
that's a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
It's syrup,
you
dude.
know,
That's
when
what you're
bring your
drinking. You're drinking
diabetes
syrup.
medication.
I was just going to say, you know, if I if I gain so like if I start to gain weight like because I'm like drinking sugar, like I kind of think that it'll eventually kind of come full circle, because I'll be like drinking so much of it that I'll just lose a foot to diabetes, and that will be the weight that I gain, so it's fine.
Right. I don't know how much a foot weighs though. It's probably not equivalent. But
no.
Probably not
Not
that
worth
much.
it.
No, but you know,
No.
it'll be a start.
keep drinking. I gotta lose.
man.
Keep drinking the sugar. I gotta lose more weight. Go up to your knees eventually, and
There's one of my friends in work. He had this really grim joke, and see his father lost both his feet to sepsis, like just bad, like it's bad. But
Wow.
he'd have this grim joke. It's like I look exactly like my dad. I'm 2 feet taller than him though.
Oh man.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
what's he gonna do? Chase him down the road?
No, he's dead now. It's alright.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's
No, he's
Jesus
not.
Christ, Kevin, way to fucking bring down the mood of the stream. Fucking hell.
I just want to.
It got a little bit morbid in here all of a sudden. Jesus.
and
I know.
Steve.
I like doing that though. I like doing that.
Yeah. So Jim, what have you got coming up? Like you're a crazy student right now. But what have you got coming up?
Just working on my dissertation. As far as like events or anything like that, I have I'll be speaking at the Secular Society at MIT in April, April the 4th, I think, on the resurrection of Jesus, the empty tomb. I don't know. Other than that, just whatever comes up. What about you?
You're doing your PhD in the dating of the Book of Daniel?
Not the dating of the Book of Daniel, but the methodology behind the revision.
Oh, okay. One of my favorite stories in the Book of Daniel is one of my favorite fairy tales, I should say, from the Book of Daniel, is when the people are walking around the fire. I love that.
Yeah.
Part. And I think it was actually, I can't remember where I read, but apparently, and you'll be able to correct me if I'm wrong, but apparently from what I understand, the scholarly consensus is it was written nowhere close to the time the Bible says it was.
Well, that story is one of the older stories. That's one of the early court tales. So it probably originated like around the 5th century BCE, but the Book of Daniel as we know it and the authorship of chapters 7 through 12 are from the 2nd century, about 165
right.
BCE.
And that's depending on the dating that you read. That's only a couple of decades after what may have been the conclusion of the last couple of Gospels, because they're like 150.
Oh no, BCE. So before.
Oh, sorry. Okay. All right.
Yeah, around the time of the Seleucid occupation, they were in the oppression under Antiochus IV.
how did you lose your faith?
By studying the Bible. I was a pastor. I got my my Master of Divinity and New Testament studies, and was saving up to start my own church. And just, I don't know, there was no single straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. It was just the God that I went looking for turned out to be so small, it was indistinguishable from no God at all.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That was very much the same for me. Of course, I didn't have quite the background that you had, but it was, and it's funny because when I'll say to people, the best way, and it's not my line. I don't remember where I read it, but one of the best ways to become an atheist is to actually read the Bible, to sit down and read it. And there are times when I tell people that, and they say, "Oh, but it couldn't have been that." I'm like, "Well, have you read it? Like, have you read some of the ridiculousness contained within those pages, and try to reconcile that with reality?"
Mm-hmm.
Like the sun standing still in the sky, and people dancing around, or not dancing around, but walking around, Jericho, and then the walls, and blowing horns out, and the walls falling over. I actually had one guy tell me that, well, with modern harmonics, we could actually do that to a wall. We could make it fall over. And I'm like, did you hear what you said with modern harmonics?
Yeah.
Well, we actually know where Jericho is, and we can actually see there are portions of the wall that are still standing.
So that kind of throws a wrench into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the whole kind of the word modern in that sentence is kind of, that's the defeater right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They kind of just sabotage their own argument.
Well, what about you guys? I mean, because for the longest time, this was rib, right? This was religion is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So what about you guys?
How did I lose my faith?
Yeah.
I've told this story a few times. Quite ironically, it was in religion class. So our religion, or our education on religion, it didn't just cover Christianity. It kind of, and like Kevin will kind of obviously know this because we met when we were in secondary school. So yeah, you can back up everything that I'm saying, basically. We learned about Islam. We learned about Buddhism,
Judaism.
Hinduism, Judaism, all of the kind of major world religions. And I was 14 at the time, and I just remember so vividly kind of sitting there and being like, everybody who was a part of all of these religions, and I was Catholic at the time, so I was kind of so including myself, think that I'm right about the God that I believe in. But they can't all be right, and they're not all the same God. So how do I know that I am right? And it was that question that kind of led me down about 2 years of kind of self-exploration, I guess. And when I was 16, then I started saying that I was an atheist. I didn't believe in God, and that's literally just how that happened. It was quite ironically in religious education is how I lost my religion. So yeah.
Mine wasn't. I can't really pinpoint an exact moment for me. See, my family they're Catholic in name only. We'll find an awful lot of these in Ireland. So they'll the only time I went to mass was funerals and weddings. So I grew up, but we are in public school in Ireland. There's obviously a very heavy Catholic bent to everything. So I grew up thinking that, okay, the thing to do, because I'm told, is just believe in God and pray and such. I remember as early as 8 and 9 years old, I literally would say my prayers before bed, and I'd be in my head thinking, please God, protect these people, and I'd name off in my head my whole family and all that. And that went on for a while. And then it's funny, it progressed to, I was in a rush or something, I was tired. I was like, oh, please God, protect everyone I like. I didn't go about naming them. And
listen,
I did that
already. You can read my mind.
Yeah, I did that for
take care of them.
I did that for a while, and no, it's okay. Nothing really cataclysmic has changed, and then as I kind of got older, approaching just after my confirmation, 12, 13, 14, I became more aware of all the horrendous stuff that was done in the Catholic Church in Ireland, and kind of questioned a little bit, but mostly it was just I attributed it to the analogy of Christian faith. For me was initially a TV show that I tuned in for every week without fail, and then it was every other week, and then I just forgot that the show existed. So I just gradually fell out of it.
Maybe they're on reruns by now.
Maybe I'd pick up where I left off. Yeah,
There's only so many stories. I got to keep retelling them at some point.
Yeah, please God, protect Mammy and Daddy, and well, actually, a good few of the people I used to name are dead now at this stage. Maybe I should have kept praying. Who knows?
And it does a good one. It's funny because Stephen, to what you said, and I don't remember where I heard this. It's not my line, but somebody said something like, there's all these different religions, right? They can't all be right, but they can all be wrong.
Yeah.
And that's,
I think that was Ricky Gervais.
It might. I don't know.
I think it might have been.
But it could well have been him. And it just that seems to be more reasonable. I'm still reading through the Quran for the first time, and it's painful. Mostly because there's no real good translations, but I'm working through the best I can. Aaron Ra has a good series on that actually on reading the Quran. But the only one that I can say with confidence that I'm absolutely convinced doesn't exist is the Christian God. But there's
we lost Jim.
We lost Jim. Uh-oh.
Yeah, and now we're in that one. I hate that one. The whole 3 split screen thing. I don't like that.
I wonder if.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with Jim actually.
Maybe he had a connectivity issue.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, just.
He's in Oklahoma. He said he said himself he's in rural Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a cow knocked over the cell tower.
Yeah.
Maybe I got nothing.
He's going to start the generator again. I don't know.
Exactly. He's got to tie it back up. He's got to tie it back up to the horse and get the horse to keep running around.
Yeah. A series of progressively larger hamsters on wheels.
Yeah, exactly. I was horrible at that. Remember when you would take those aptitude tests and you had to pick which diagram gave the least resistance or the most help to something?
Yeah.
I was just I'd answer some of them. Eventually I just get bored and I pick the most complicated one. Like that's got to be it. That's got to be it. And that explains a lot about my career trajectory if you think about it. Yeah, so Stephen, would you do it all over again? Would you get back into the ring, so to speak, with all of the people that you've previously had discussions with? Are the people that you like just don't have the time for anymore, or are you more like me where you're just a glutton for punishment? Yeah.
Well, CJ, I would talk to again. I would talk to like we have profound disagreements, but like he was actually kind of okay to interact with.
He's remarkably well spoken for such a young man.
Yeah, he's only 21.
Yeah, married as well.
Yeah.
When I heard that, 20... I was like, "What the fuck? My daughter's older than you are, man."
I know. He's 21 and he's been married for 2 years.
Goodness gracious.
He got married at 19, which is like, hey, look, I mean, if you wanted to, you do you. That's definitely not where I want to fucking be. But anyway, look, he seems happy. He's been married for good for him. Michael, your face.
Yeah, I wasn't frozen. That was just in disbelief. I'm a firm believer in, if we're talking about consenting adults and you're not hurting anybody, do what makes you happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's a big fucking but. No. Sorry.
That young, like.
Look, he had said that he's been with the same person for 7 years now. So he like had like his like I don't know, maybe first girlfriend at like 14, and they just never broke up, and then they got married. So look, I mean, I know one other person who's in like that, like who's in like literally that exact situation, as in like she got with her first boyfriend when she was 14, and now she's like married and has like 2 kids with him. It's the like, very, very rare exception to the rule. But look, I mean, if you're happy, you want to be with him, you want to make that sort of commitment, go for it. I mean, I'm not going to stand in your way.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
personally get it myself, but I don't have to.
I know myself at 19.
That's true. Yeah. I'm still an idiot now. I'm 25. I don't want to get fucking married at 19. Fuck that.
I wasn't fit to be guardian of a hamster at 19. So yeah, I mean, wow, 7. Well, hey, if he's, I mean, I guess the best evidence would be success.
Yeah,
right. If he can make it work, and if but I just think about not to go to like a bad place, but I just think like from a sex perspective, like how did you figure out what you liked and what you didn't like?
Yeah. Yeah.
Was she allowed?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's like, and like I said, I just go to bad places. I just go to bad places because I'm just, it's like, if she won't put a finger in your bum, how do you find out if you like it or not?
There you go. Yep.
Right. I just got you kicked off YouTube. You're welcome.
But it's just the thing, like when you're when you're 19, you look back at yourself when you're 17. It's like, oh, what an idiot I was. Same 21 to 9. Like me looking back to when I was 19, like not necessarily an idiot, but just in a weird frame of mind. I can look back with hindsight, knows is weird. And it's like imagine doing a massive life, possibly one of the biggest things you do in your life, aside from maybe raising a child or something like that. At that young age, the brain has not finished growing. Demonstrably has not finished growing.
Yeah, that we know for a fact. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a new piece of information. I didn't know that. I'm going to struggle with that one for a while. But
yeah,
sorry,
I would talk to CJ again. Maddox, just no. I mean, do I even need to explain why? Do I even need to explain why?
To moi? No. No.
Yeah, no. Maddox is just he's just a.
Say it, Stephen.
It's the kind of thing like you actually think, like having interacted, like you watch videos with people like Gman and stuff like that, and even some people think this is a stretch, but even someone like Darth, you think you've heard condescension, and then you interact with John Maddox.
Yeah.
And the funny part is that it didn't matter. And what was brilliant, and James is really good at this, but I've never heard him do this with anyone else. He went out of his way to tell, like when he was doing the intro, for everyone to avoid personal attacks.
Yeah.
To go after the argument.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, though I cannot know what James was thinking, that was aimed at Maddox. Because he is always the first one to call someone an idiot or say, you obviously don't know, or you're obviously uneducated, or you obviously haven't looked into this, or you obviously insert thing here, haven't done what he has obviously done, because again, he's the smartest person in any room he's in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just this he can probably spell humility, but I'm not sure he knows what it is.
Yeah.
Or has any.
Yeah, he did that. He did that to you in particular, Stephen. I believe there was a discussion around the demarcation between insurance between different states in the US, and how federal legislation led to seemingly anti-competition laws or something like that. And he phrased it. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And he phrased it in quite an obtuse way, and then he restated it as like, okay, so you're saying that you don't know XYZ? I was like that really bugs me because, like, Stephen, you know, for me, like, whenever we're doing our thing, my thing is not to demean people. I don't even like to get that confrontational because I like to see what people say when you kind of coax a bit of information out of them. So that just rubbed me right the wrong way. It was like, my dude, like, just state your opinion, like, Stephen's opinion if you have to, but just don't do this shitty bullshit approach to get people's backs up purposefully so you can get a rise out of them. So then you seem like the reasonable one. It's so fucking obnoxious.
Yeah, that doesn't seem to be something that's in his wheelhouse, because, and you hit the nail right on the head, Kevin, is that he could have said, "Let I understand you correctly. Are you saying
Yeah.
this?" Right?
Yeah.
The same point gets across.
Yeah.
Just one is more gracious than the other.
Yeah.
And I'm using the word gracious here. So fuck. So it's he is just, he's an interesting fellow. And
that's a way of putting it.
Yeah. And this will sound horrible, but maybe it won't. I just hope
that's Maddox. Who cares?
I just hope he's a different person offline. I hope for the sake of the people that he lives with and interacts with and maybe loves and maybe fucks, that he's a nicer person.
I don't know. I get kind of incelly vibes off of Maddox, so that's probably not that last one is probably not a worry. But I do get what you're saying, though. Yeah, you know, the kind of like friends and family and stuff like that. Like, Jesus Christ, man, could you imagine like if he was actually that fucking condescending to the people around him? Fuck, man.
No, I mean, he's like, at least from the outside looking in, because we can't know what it's like, in the private life. But he'd be the reason to not go to the get together.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I'd love to go, but I'm not going to. Right?
Oh fuck, John's going to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'll say that. So, and just to give you an idea of the degree to which that kind of thing has impacted me. I grew up with 4 sisters. 2 of them passed away. One of them, the one is closest in age to me, is now married to a racist man. There's no other way to put it. They were living in a suburb of Toronto called Brampton. Brampton is northwest of, like, so if you're picturing Toronto on the CN Tower, Brampton is northwest of there. And it is still ethnically diverse. However, the ethnic diversity has slanted much more to Southeast Asia, like the Southeast Asia, the Middle East, the Arab Peninsula, places like that. Brown people, essentially. And we were over there, and they announced at this little get together that they had sold their house and that they were moving to a place called Georgetown, which is a little more north and a little further east, and is a lot more white. And I'm like, fucking, why fucking Georgetown? You know, it's like, because everybody else is everybody else in the family is on the east end. So it's like, did I not shower? Do we smell? Like, what's the thing? Like, why are we even further away, right? I mean, live where you want to live, but whatever. And he looked at me dead in the fucking eyes, and he said, "Too many sheets and towels." And I stood there, slack jawed. I was just, and I honestly don't recall how long I was like that. Probably a solid 5 count anyway, before, before my brain hit Control Alt Delete and restarted. I was like, okay. And I didn't know how to react. This is more than 10 years ago. And I didn't know how to react at the time. And we have since had words about this thing. And as a result, we don't have a lot of words anymore. But like I understand the whole, avoiding all that to say, my very long story to answer a very short question. I understand why you might avoid, a family get together. Someone like fucking John Maddox is there. But I'm surprised that you said incel thing. That, and of course, now that you've said it,
I
it's all
get that little bit of a vibe. I don't know.
now that you've said it, it's all I can think about.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that
So thanks for that.
I think that might be why he's so angry. That's just what Zero Pussy does.
Yeah,
How's the
you just need
motherfucker?
someone to go down on him.
Yeah. I don't know. No, I could be, completely like a million miles away from the mark, but it's just, it's just the vibe I get. But
it's almost like your brain uses that as a justification. Like, why could he be such an asshole? Oh, because he's not getting laid, right?
Yeah,
it's just your brain just goes there. Yeah.
But no, I mean, I kind of hope that that's the reason why, because if it's not, I genuinely don't know what it is.
So when he posts a picture of him, his wife, and his 3 kids, then what do you say? In my mind, that's more disturbing.
Yeah.
Because then you're just like, and how are you treating your kids? And
yeah, because it's like, if you're comfortable,
break. Is there a complete break? Or is this
because it's just like, if you're comfortable kind of like speaking to and treating strangers, because that's what I am to Maddox, you know what I mean? Like, they doesn't fucking know me from Adam, like, you know what I mean? So if he's comfortable treating me like this, then how the fuck does he treat his kids? You know what I mean?
He could be one of those people. He could be one of those people that just adopts a bit of a persona because he likes the confrontation, and he does it. He specifically does it with strangers. Maybe because I'm giving him a massive benefit out here, but maybe he wants.
Here comes that fucking devil's advocate in your personality, Jesus.
Maybe he wants. He's a really nice person in real life, and he saves up all his anger, his vitriol, and his awful little thoughts in his smug little face, and he saves them for when he's debating you.
Fucking play video games.
Yeah,
like,
just something. Yeah, something. I don't know.
People
but anyway,
sometimes I'm like, I'm close to 50 years old. Like, play video games. Like, play video games. Fuck, who cares?
But anyway, yes. Then
I was playing video games before you were born. It's quite literally true.
I'd say you were. Yeah, literally.
Yeah. But then there is the last, but by absolutely no means least, Icky Taint. No, I wouldn't ever have any interactions with him before, because somebody who has charges of sexually assaulting a minor. No, I'm
sorry, what?
Oh yeah. I was just gonna say, I kind of hoped you hadn't heard about that. Yeah.
What? Is this a person by a different name?
Rewind.
Steve, is this a person by a different name?
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah, it's what you say.
Oh, there's a loop. Sorry, I'm working at 75% brain capacity right now.
Okay. I'm like Joe Pesci in Lethal Weapon 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Hang on. Well, I didn't. Is this like? Yeah.
Will I back up there a little bit?
Hamster's fucking running. Is this a thing? Like, I didn't hear about any of this.
Yes, so this is a thing.
I wondered, because he has been conspicuous by his absence for some time.
Yes. Yeah.
I wondered.
So
I just wondered what was up. Like, I thought maybe he just got bored with it, or couldn't pay his internet bill, or like, I didn't know what the issue. Like, what the fuck?
Steve, you're going to start this with a massive allegedly.
Oh, yes. Obviously, this is like caked, heaped, and like smothered in allegedly. But
okay.
Yeah, so the Friday, the day that the debate was scheduled for on socialism versus capitalism, it was supposed to be me and Leo versus CJ and Smokey.
Okay.
We were doing a live stream. Me and Kevin were doing a live stream, and Leo was there as well.
Was it like a pre-show?
Yeah. Essentially, yeah. And during that stream, we get an email from Smokey, and he said that that like he's had like this power outage and this and that and the other thing, and he doesn't know if he's going to be able to make it, and his phone is only on like 20% battery and stuff like that, so he's probably not going to be able to make it, this, that, and the other thing, right? So obviously big massive hullabaloo. James gets in contact with John, he fiddles in this, that, the other thing. That was all grand.
It's 2021. Who doesn't have a fucking battery pack for their fucking...
Yeah, that's true. That's
okay,
true.
All right, whatever. Okay, whatever.
So fast forward to Saturday, the day after, and the Rage is doing a live stream. The Rage has covered Smokey for months. Okay. And he breaks the news. This was news to me. So he said that people started finding... He said on Saturday that people started finding out about this yesterday. Now, yesterday was the day that he was supposed to be on MDD live debating me and Leo.
Okay.
And so the kind of like assumption, kind of like getting the two pieces of the jigsaw and kind of like putting them together, is that Smokey realized that this news had or that these rumors had started to spread like wildfire, and was a little bit apprehensive about going onto a massive fucking platform such as MDD and having people risk either putting it in the live chat or in super chats. So he dipped out of the debate because we checked live that night. He's in North Carolina. There was no reported power cuts anywhere in that
California,
state. So,
North California.
I thought it was California. It's actually North Carolina.
Okay.
So I'm watching this live stream that the Rage is doing, and Michael, you had kind of said about like what your the racist guy, what he had said to you in your mouth was that was basically me for the entire fucking live stream. So basically, because like all of this information is like access to the public. Like they have this like this was it freedom of information or like something anyway. There is
well, like, so there's like a police thing or something?
Yeah.
Oh,
there is now, I want to stress this by emphasizing this. He has 7 charges, not convictions, but charges against him. 4 of them are for sexual misconduct with a minor. Now, the classification that it is a B1. It is a B1 felony. Now, this is like my very rudimentary understanding of the U.S. law system. This is like, but this is coming from the Rage who is in the U.S. So
we don't have felonies in Canada either. It's kind of weird. Like there's either like the bad ones are criminal charges.
Yeah,
like those are the bad ones.
Yeah. So essentially, what that is a B1 felony is in this context. So the age of consent in North Carolina is 16. So the alleged victim in this case would have to be an absolute maximum of 15, and because it is a B1 charge, Smokey would have to be at least 21. So there's a 6-year difference. Now, that is the kind of like, it's obviously on like a sliding scale of their like relative ages. That's
right, because if he was 25 and she was 12, there would be a whole different thing. Or
but so
not that I'm saying that that's a thing, but just I understand what you mean by the sliding scale.
Yeah, well, it's at least 6 years, so it could be more, but it's 6 or more. It's 6 years or more. So that's like and I know this is going to sound really, really fucked up to say, but I hope that you guys will kind of get it. Like, that's the best case scenario, is that there was only 6 years between. Like, I know that sounds fucked up, but like, do you kind of understand what I'm saying?
Of course, yeah. But but it's weird.
Look, like he could have been 28 and she could have been 11, right? So like just as like random numbers, but. Yeah, and he has 4 counts of that, and he has 3 counts of sexual harassment towards somebody. But like that's like a lesser thing. If Smokey allegedly, again, only had one of these charges, one of the B1 charges against him. If he was convicted on just one of them, it's life in prison. He's never seeing daylight again. That sort of thing. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry,
Life in prison.
that's a mandatory sentence, or that's the maximum sentence?
I'm not actually 100% sure. I'm genuinely not actually 100% sure.
Because it's weird.
I
Because
think
like
that
in Canada, life is 25 years.
yeah. So I know that Brainbug is in the live chat. Like, do you know anything, or could you kind of like help us out just a little bit, just if you have the chance there, Brian? I'm genuinely not actually 100% sure, but
That's fucked up.
either way, look, either way, I mean, like Jesus, like if he gets convicted on all of these, like on all 7 counts, then that's literally like fucking game over. He's gonna die in prison.
So here's what I'm going to say. My hope is that he's innocent, and I want to
Oh
be
yeah,
very
no,
clear.
yeah. Look, obviously,
No, my
I
hope
have.
is that he's innocent, because if he's innocent, it means it didn't happen. I'd rather not think about a child had been sexually assaulted, rather than not guilty, right? Which means it could have said actually be a thing. But my hope is he's actually innocent of the crime,
Yeah,
because innocent means a kid wasn't hurt.
yeah,
But one thing that does for sure, and like, yeah, this is just hitting me way out of left field. I had no concept this was going on. That certainly does away with any anonymity that he had, because all those things, like, I'm pretty sure in the US is like this public record, so we'd be able to find, like, because I mean, I wouldn't know if he didn't speak. I wouldn't know Smokey Saint if I fell over him on the street, because I've never seen his face. I don't know that anyone has, and I
Oh yeah,
suspect
no, we have.
Oh, I haven't, like, because
Yeah.
I'm hearing this for the first time, right? So I have no clue.
Okay.
But wow, that's wow. I hope it's not true. Yeah, I hope it's not true.
Give me a sec there.
Stephen, sorry to interrupt on this one. I'm afraid I'm going to have to bounce here. I'm
Have to
nodding
dip out?
quite significantly. Yeah.
That's no problem, man.
Up quite shortly. But Michael, great catching up as always. We'll definitely
Yeah, for
have
sure.
to do it
Ken,
again.
we'll do this again sooner rather than later.
Definitely.
Sure. And
Absolutely.
go get some sleep, because it's fucking stupid o'clock where you guys are already.
Yeah, I'll work
All
tomorrow.
right, Kevin. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you. Bye.
Talk to you later, man. Yeah, so I've just put in the private chat because, like, look at, like, I don't think that, like, I don't think this the rage kind of like necessarily like doxed him or anything else like that. But look, I'm not going to say his actual name on the thing, but you know, it's all kind of, I mean, it's kind of all there.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the hard things when you like, and again, my only point of reference is Canadian law and the little bit that I know about it, because I'm not a lawyer. I just play one on TV sometimes. And that the only people that are really protected in Canada, of course, minors, right? Yeah, or if you're a young offender, right? So you can be, if you're 14 years old in Canada and you kill 25 people, your name is not released because you are a young offender. You are protected. If you're 18 years old, your name and picture plastered everywhere. Assuming he's, well, this wouldn't be a thing if he was underage. So I'm assuming that being an adult, he's not going to have or he won't be able to have the expectation of privacy, meaning that information, I guess, would become readily available. Again,
yeah,
you said it, 12 minutes ago. I hadn't heard it prior to that. So I'll probably just leave it alone. I just, again,
yeah.
my hope is it didn't happen.
Yeah, obviously. Look, like, putting aside every single argument that we've had, put aside like all of my distaste for the man personally, obviously I hope that this didn't happen. I hope that like
sure.
it's but yeah,
even without this information, I still wouldn't have another conversation with him.
Oh no.
And that was because, and it's funny because I remember, I think it was on Math Pig's stream after round 3 that we had,
Mhm.
when he had called me a racist and anti-Semite and stuff like that, and I told him to go fuck himself, and probably a few other colorful metaphors.
Probably.
I think he did actually apologize to you, didn't he?
Yes.
I thought that was a thing, right?
Yes.
I didn't need or want one from him, because I don't put much into apologies when I don't have the capacity to make a reasonable a reasonable judgment on whether or not they're sincere, because it's too easy to say I'm sorry. Especially when you're in the wrong, it can be very easy to say I'm sorry to avoid further sideways glances and to appear to be taking the high ground. I think it's too easy. And I think he showed historically through his actions that the apology probably wouldn't be genuine anyway. So,
yeah,
I think those are the only two people. Like, having just interacted with Gman, and the previous time I've been over 2 years since I'd interacted with them, I found it fun. I will send James an email and see if Gman wants to go down the morality road with me, because that's fun.
Yeah, always.
And I didn't have a problem with praise, really. I thought it was funny close to the end when they were when somebody brought up, I think it was in a question from the audience that had quoted Isaiah 45:7 about creating good and evil. What's funny, and I didn't mention this either, is that Gman was bouncing up and down in the chat talking about that wasn't the right translation, and then I had said that I think it was either NIV or NASB that calls it calamity instead. And Gman hooked onto that. He loved that because evil's a bad word, right? But if you ask Gman what his favorite translation of the Bible is, he'll say KJV, which is where the evil one comes from. So it's interesting that he tries to swap out when it suits him. But yeah, I didn't have a problem with praise. Yeah, I'll talk to anybody.
Yeah, like I'll talk to basically anyone as well.
Your PS5 shut down.
Huh?
Your PS5 shut down, or at least it went to black screen.
Yeah, the TV. It's in power saving mode. TV is.
Okay.
What was I going to say? Oh yeah. I messaged Kay Fellows, who's done several abortion debates on MDD. She's interested in having a debate, so I've emailed James, although he hasn't actually gotten back to me. I might leave it another couple of days and then kind of
send him a Twitter note too.
Yeah, and just kind of see then what
my experience. James is a great guy, but he's so fucking busy.
Crazy.
Two forms of communication are always better. So send him an email and reach out to him on Twitter as well.
Yeah.
And saying, hey, sent you an email, right? Even if it's just that.
Yeah.
Then he'll look at that because now everybody gets an auto response from MDD, right? Whenever you send him an email, you get an automatic response saying, response is delayed due to busyness. So having two contacts is points of contact is good. I've seen a couple of debates that Kay has done. One with T-Jump when they were talking about the pro-life, pro-choice. And although I'm not a fan of pro-life, pro-choice, I think those terms lend themselves to an adversarial discussion.
Yeah.
Because just because you are in favor of a woman's right to choose the healthcare that's right for her doesn't mean you're anti-life.
Yeah, of course.
Right. I am. Yeah. And it's funny because I said this during our discussion with Smokey and Maddox. I am pro-life, and the only thing that
Mhm.
trumps my pro-life stance is my pro-choice stance. And of course, they both rolled their eyes and accused me of being dishonest and stuff like that. But it's true. I think life is precious and should be protected. But bodily autonomy has to be the line that gets drawn in the sand. And a woman has to be able to choose the healthcare that's right for her. And at the end of the day, it ends up with her and her doctor. And I'm not discounting a male partner's role in this,
Mhm. Yeah.
but it's her fucking body. At the end of the day, it's
Yeah.
her body. So anyway, I'll jump off my soapbox now.
No, yeah. I mean, yeah. Like, I would be kind of arguing from that, and like, you see, like, what I liked about Kay was that she's not this kind of typical. Oh God, we have Antangelo on the live chat. I don't know if you know who that is, Michael. Do you?
Yeah, we were friends for about 4 days on Facebook. Then he dumped me because I said something apparently not nice to him.
Oh, okay. How you doing, Antangelo? Yeah, you. Anyway,
By the
what
way,
was I saying?
evolution's a
Yes.
thing, Otangelo. Doesn't matter what you think.
Don't provoke. Don't.
Doesn't
poke
matter
the-
what you think,
Don't
Otangelo.
poke the bee's nest.
You're wrong, Otangelo.
What was it? Oh yeah. Kay is kind of uniquely
She's not a thumper pro-lifer.
well, yeah, well, you see, she's like actually consistent in her pro-life views, right? So like when we were talking with Maddox and Smokey, like when he said that he was pro-life, I think it was me that asked him, although it could have been you, although we both kind of said the next thing.
The
But
death penalty.
yeah, the death
Yep.
penalty. One of us asked him, was he in favor of the death penalty? And he said yes. And then we both, like, almost in fucking unison, then said, well, then you're not pro-life. So,
You're
but
pro-birth.
Kay is anti-death penalty. She's anti-war. She's,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? She's trying to be, like, as consistent in her, like, in that view as she possibly can be, which I respect because, let's just face it, not an awful lot of people are,
I have a ton of
Not-
respect for that. But I mean, I'm careful to try to be too pushy with my opinions on something that at the end of the day cannot personally affect me. It can never affect my body, right? But when asked, I'll of course give my opinions. And I appreciate the consistency. What I meant when I said that she's not a thumper is that she doesn't just hold the Bible and say life begins at conception. And that's her basis for it. I get it.
What voice was that?
I just when I make up, I do that one, and then every once in a while I can dip into the Southern if required. And that was a shitty version of my Southern, but so, and it's funny because to counter that argument, what I've said to people is, like you could argue life begins before conception. That egg and that sperm, you could argue, are living. They're alive. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
A potential human life begins at conception. Sure, I'll grant that any fucking day of the week. Of course it does. You'd be ignorant to argue otherwise.
Yep.
But lots of people have written about this, but like 25% or more of recognized pregnancies end in spontaneous abortion because the woman's body's like, something ain't right. Let's hit the reset button, right? And a lot of times that happens without the woman even knowing that she was pregnant. Sam Harris in Letter to a Christian Nation said that makes God the most prolific abortionist ever.
Yep.
And I would agree with that. But I think that could be a great conversation. And because like of the discussions I've seen with Kay, I think you guys could have a great discussion because it's not going to be this.
Yes, that's actually specifically why I picked Kay, because I saw one that she did. It was her versus Ariel, and it was such.
I didn't watch that, but I did see.
Yeah.
I saw the bumper for it. Yeah,
it was a ridiculously cordial discussion. Like none of them raised their voice, none of them did like anything else like that. Do you know what I mean? So I was kind of like, I'm very acutely aware that of the 4 times now that I've been on MDD, they've all been, rather heated. They've been very, very hot in their temperature.
Maybe a smidge.
So
Smidge and a half.
but you see, like I've been kind of saying to like myself, or kind of like in passing, just for a little while, that like God, like I really, really like wish James had been like a fly on the wall of any of the Discord conversations that I have, because I'm not going to say 9 out of 10, but 8 out of 10 of them are just, they're just that, they're just conversations. Yes, we're disagreeing and we're arguing back and forth, but they're more of a conversation than a debate, if you kind of get what I mean. Like,
Sure, yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, there's none of the kind of like shouting and screaming and well, like F you and like all that sort of stuff. There's none of that. It's just a conversation, and I kind of feel like if I was to talk to Kay, that's exactly what that would be like. And I just kind of like just wanted to kind of show James as well as like his audience, because I mean, like I'm sure his audience has like some kind of perception of me of like, oh holy fuck, well, I mean, like if like Rabe or Cider and Port is on, it's gonna be a shit show, right? Like that like might start to be the kind of the view there. So just to kind of get that other kind of side of
I could say
out there.
Yeah. And I could say precisely the same thing, and that's why I'll tell people sometimes when I'm on, like if I'm on Apologetics Live's channel or something like that, I'll say, you can go look at our back catalog of episodes, and if you select anyone with a Christian, you'll just hear discourse, right?
Yeah.
You won't hear arguments. And any of the conversations that I've had on Apologetics Live are the same way. We're just talking, but that there's something about, I don't know whether it's something about the word debate all on its lonesome that can bring it out, or yeah, I guess I'm not sure what it is, that there just tends to be, but what you said is spot on when I have an introspective look as well, because I can think of every time I've been on MDD, and I wouldn't even be able to argue the point that people probably look at me and say, that guy's a fucking asshole. Like thinking about me, because hey, I can be a dick. Just ask my wife. But it's yeah, I don't know why she loves me. Honestly, I don't. But I'm kidding, of course. But yeah, no, I think you could do with a discussion with Kay that so far it might be fair to say that neither one of us has had an MDD before.
Yeah. So I am acutely aware of the time. I just have 2 more things to ask you.
If there's any, what's going on? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, if you want
Why
to
is
respond...
a cockroach worth more than a human being? That's an interesting question. Otangelo, if you would like to have a discussion about this, bring your A game, and I'll do that with you. And we can, if Stephen is up for it, we can do it right here.
Yeah, sure. Antangelo, if you're down to have a conversation with Michael, you can have it right here if you want to. I'm sure that if you're going,
the most
I'm sure that if you're going to kind of,
sorry, I keep on stepping on each other.
You're okay.
The most direct question to your answer to your question, Otangelo, is there is no inherent difference. If you look at it from the perspective of the universe, we don't mean anything more to the universe than a cockroach does.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So
anyway,
Antangelo, Antangelo, I don't think is on Twitter. So
he may have blocked me on Facebook. Like I said,
okay,
we were friends
I'm going
for 4 hours. You can give my email address, the ca@rogers.com.
CA. Is there any like capitals or anything like that in there?
Nope, just THECA@rogers.com. And that goes to anybody else that's in the live chat. Yeah.
So
Love to chat with you.
yeah, that's the email. So yeah, if you want to email Michael, and I'm sure then like we'll have a back and forth then on Twitter.
I'll just
and
copy
we'll
you in on the chain and we'll get it going.
Yeah, we'll set that up, and that'll be fun. That'll be my first time modding, but rise to the occasion sort of thing. Whatever. Anyway, so second question that I had to ask you was what's it say on your t-shirt? Because I know that your t-shirts are always fun. Oh, Godless Heathen. Fair enough. I kind of took a leaf out of, or like a chapter out of your I don't know what that fucking phrase is.
Page out of your book.
Page out of your book. There we go. And like started to kind of, but like put like my kind of like funny kind of style on it, and I didn't go for a t-shirt. I went with pants. So I ordered those recently.
I can't read that. Stop.
Oh, shit.
Oh, there you go.
Stop looking at my dick.
That's awesome. Of course, now that's all I want to do. Stand up.
And then
stand up.
And then just on pants, and I plan on wearing them like every single stream that I do, and then making an excuse to like stand up so everybody knows. I'm kidding about that.
No, awesome.
But it's just I just found them hilarious. It's one of those kind of like very, very like dangerous combinations of not being able to sleep and like getting paid that day, and it's just like
like so, it's bad. Amazon loves me.
Yeah. Antangelo says
funny.
that he's just sent you an email. So
cool. All right, I'll have a look at it.
Yeah.
It probably won't be till tomorrow morning, but I'll definitely look at it. So just a quick little funny story about my t-shirts. I could probably wear a different atheist themed t-shirt every day for a month and a half.
Oh wow. Okay.
And everything from ones that are from American Atheists or the Richard Dawkins Foundation or Atheist Republic or just on and on and on. And there'll be sometimes when I'll put one on and I'll go downstairs, like my wife and I are going somewhere, she'll be like, really like, but she never, in her defense, she never ever has asked me to change. It's funny, there is one shirt that I have that says God is not great, the title of the Hitchens book.
Yeah.
And she said that one is hard for her. We actually sat down and had a conversation. She said, it's hard for me sometimes to go out in public with you wearing that shirt because of the looks you get. And of course, I just love it. I fucking eat it up.
Yeah.
But I have other ones. I have ones that say good without God. She's like, that one's totally fine. Because that's just a statement, that you're good and you're an atheist. She's an atheist as well, but she doesn't have it tattooed on her body and wear it, as a shirt, let alone on her sleeve. Like
I actually kind of literally have it tattooed on my body.
Oh, I have the Scarlet Letter.
I have. Oh god, this is going to be really fucking awkward for me to show on fucking camera because it's on my leg.
Well, so now we're talking about tattoos. I have the Scarlet Letter. I have two quotes on my forearms. One is a Hitchens quote. There's your dick. Oh, cool. All right. Yeah.
The
atheist. Okay. Yep.
So.
I went the other way. I went with the Scarlet Letter from the Richard Dawkins Foundation. And so I have a Darwin fish on one calf. And I have two quotes. One is a Hitchens quote, and which can be asserted without evidence, can be dismissed without evidence. And the other one is Carl Sagan, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. I have the two tattooed on my arms.
Oh yeah.
And I also have a D20 because I'm a massive nerd and I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for 40 years. So I have a D20 on my other calf. And and I'm still contemplating other tattoos that I want to get. I'm probably gonna get dick, across my forehead. Because that's just the kind of person I am. Any
Well, I
questions or
mean,
anything going on in the
you can
chat?
you can have fun kind of going outside in public if you have that one there.
Oh yeah. It's like, yeah. Why are you staring at me? Why do you think? Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't actually really that much like questions in chats. They were just kind of like reacting to what we were kind of saying, to be totally honest with you. Apart from Montangelo, kind of like it's just kind of funny because literally the screen that I'm looking at right now, it has one of my comments, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Montangelo comments, me, and then 2 more by Montangelo. So
Okay.
does that constitute as spamming? Probably, but it's I get
Yeah,
that it's
whatever.
not in that like literal way, so it's fine. But yeah.
Yeah, I've never yeah, I don't remember the context in which, like I said, I only briefly I said I think we were friends on Facebook for like a few days, but there
Mm.
was and then we both posted in one of the kind of atheist theist debate Facebook pages,
Mm-hmm.
and I said something. I have no recollection of what it was. He didn't like that, and that was that.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean that's unfortunate, but
that's
such is
social
life.
media, friends.
Yeah. So yeah, just just kind of since this is kind seems to be kind of happening almost, the whole debate.
Mm.
I have no problem modding it, but I mean, like, look, obviously this is kind of ideal world kind of stuff, but we're all we're all big boys here, and we all have our big boy balls, and we should be able to kind of talk like gentlemen. And the less that I have to get involved, the fucking better. So, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I'm totally fine with it. And I have done one of the things that I do is that when I'm talking, when I have a or when we probably should I always say I always exclude Dean, and I'm such a dickhead for doing it. Whenever we have a believer on, um, I don't swear out of some of it's out of respect, but then the other thing is that if the person that we're speaking with wants the capacity to share the podcast and have other people listen to it, and they're of the pearl clutching variety that can't seem to handle poopy words, uh, then I just refrain from it for the discussion, and then there's no it was like, oh well, I was going to share that with somebody, but you swore in it, so um, if that's a thing, I can certainly do that. I always sound like a different person when I don't swear because I fucking swear all the time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's kind of one of the things that like I get in trouble in work for, like, constantly. I'm sorry, I'm Irish. It's how I talk. I can barely string a sentence together and not throw fucking there somewhere. So
It's a good word.
it is. It's a very fun word to use.
Yeah. There was did
The
you ever
la-
see there was a thing on Netflix a few months ago about the history of swear words? Did you see that? It's
No,
pretty
don't think
neat.
so.
It was like it was fuck shit, pussy, and damn was actually one of them. Damn. Because damn apparently used to be a really big like that's
A
just like
swear word,
that's
really?
a swear word. Yeah, apparently that was a big thing.
Jesus Christ.
Because of the link to the whole like damnation, damning.
Oh,
You know,
right,
those,
all right, okay.
yeah, doesn't matter because God's not real anyway, so it doesn't matter. But and I forget what the other one was. I forget what the fourth one was because it was five. It was five total. My wife would know. She just would snap it off, but I can't remember what it is. Well, brother, we're getting close to the time when I have to take a
Yeah,
minute
I
to
was just about to say that to you. Yeah. The last thing that I will say, the very,
Oh yeah,
very,
yeah, yeah.
very, very last thing that I will say
Sure.
is that I have kind of obviously channeled some of that predictive energy that John Maddox brings to every debate that he has because
Uh-oh.
he's such a fucking prophet.
Uh-oh.
One of the things that I said in my opening statement on NDD in the socialism versus capitalism debate was that that the right has invented outrage, right? to kind of get mad about, and it's kind of a distraction from the thing, right? And that debate was about 2 weeks ago. And what did we see happening in the last 2 weeks in the United States? We saw the absolute, oh god, how this was allowed to happen, Michael. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Those godless, heathenous bastards at I can't fucking think of the name of the company now, but they have renamed Mr. Potato Head as just Potato Head.
I know.
And
I think it's Hasbro.
Melted Hasbro. Yes, that's it. They have melted the fuck down. They cannot deal with it. And I'm just like, look, I'm Irish, and potatoes are very important to my Irish heart and soul. But fuck off, it's a toy. Get over yourself. You're just being ridiculous.
I think that I think that there's that. Yeah, I would agree with you wholeheartedly. That is like you are making a problem that didn't exist.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that to minimize anyone. I do my best. And I say this from my place of unbelievable privilege that I'm conscious that I have. I don't want to minimize anything that anyone in a marginalized group is going for, but you hit the nail right on the head. We're talking about a fucking toy.
Yeah. It's a toy. It's a toy,
and it doesn't. If there is something less important, I'm not sure what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a oh, that's a thing.
Yeah. Like, is that happening? Like, okay.
Yeah. It doesn't.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when it was a big deal that Barbie got breasts, or that Ken got a lump in his shorts or something, or when they made Barbie's breast bigger. So I was a big fan of that. But it just, I mean, should they be doing more? Should the world in general be doing more for inclusivity? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just, and I think we're already as a planet dealing with enough fatigue, right? We've got this virus fatigue, and we've got mask fatigue, and we've got social distancing fatigue, and can't see our family, and just on and on and on and on. All the things we want to get back to, but we realize we can't because of the importance of being vigilant and making sure that we eradicate this thing. I get it. But we're already so tired and outraged about other things. To consciously say, hey, let's get pissed off about this too. I'm reminded of something that I may have said this before, but Hassan Minhaj, who had that Netflix show called The Patriot Act. We're so good. You get a chance to watch it, guys, do it. So good. He also did, if you can Google, I think it's 2016 or 2017 White House Correspondents' Dinner, where he did the monologue for. Also really good. Super smart guy. Anyway, he said, we're all tired. He said, and you can't pick up every cause and run with it. Right? You can't be everything to everybody for all groups of people. And one of the things he said, like, for dolphin-free tuna, he's like, somebody else has to deal with that. That's got to be somebody else's thing. Yes, I'm in favor of dolphin-friendly tuna, but somebody else has to worry about that. I can't worry about that. And he named off a few other things, which are just kind of funny tongue-in-cheek things, and saying, somebody else has to deal with that. I don't have the time to be, in the cause for that either. Not that I don't care about it, but I can't be in the cause for that too. And so I'm saying is that, it's like with inclusivity and all these other things, it's like, yeah, it's all important, but it's not, it's everybody can't do everything for everybody all the time. Right. And like what I say to people, and when they ask them, like, fighting against silly beliefs, that's my thing. That's and I try to do other things, to the best of my ability. But just because I don't share your post or comment on your post or like your tweet or something else like that doesn't mean I'm a sexist, homophobic bigot. It just means that I'm doing my thing, and I support you, but I don't have to virtue signal everything that everyone puts out,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the whole Mr. or Mrs. Potato Head, fuck off. Like what you said, just fuck off. Like,
Yeah. It's a
yeah,
potato. It's a
it's a
plastic.
potato.
It's a plastic toy. Just
Yeah. Besides, everybody that had both of them put the fucking lips on Mr. Potato Head.
everybody. Yeah, everybody.
Everybody.
So it's just
And if
not,
you
yeah,
didn't
it's
do
just,
it, if you didn't do it, you're lying, because you did
Yeah.
do it. Everybody did it because it was funny. Brother,
And anyway,
that's about
yeah,
it.
just going to say on that note, we're running dangerously close to the cutoff time. So,
Hard stop. Yeah.
thank you so much, Michael, for coming on. Join
This
me.
has been fun as always, brother. It's always a good time, and I'll look at the email from Otangelo.
Perfect.
And,
Yeah, get that set up, and sure we'll go from there.
we do that. and if you don't want, because of course I just fucking offered up your channel to do it.
Mhm.
If you don't, we can totally do it on the CA as well.
Yeah.
If you're not up to that for whatever reason.
Yeah,
So
no,
don't
sure.
feel like
I'm down for it. I'm down for it, man.
Okay.
I don't mind doing that. So yeah, join me tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern, for a talk on Biden's presidency so far. And if anybody caught my video from Saturday where I did a rant about Sia's movie called Music, if you thought that I had a rant then, you ain't heard nothing yet.
Hey,
So,
isn't tomorrow when Biden's doing the announcement that he's coming after everybody's guns?
I think so, yeah. I think that might be
That is
tomorrow, yeah.
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 Because what else
So-
would he do as a Democratic president, right?
I mean, obviously, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Biden's not perfect,
Anyway.
guys.
Until tomorrow, guys, we will say goodbye.